Right, welcome back to the Physique Academy podcast. This is the podcast where we talk all things training, nutrition, lifestyle. Today's guest is one of our new appointed head coach. Well, new-ish. See, it still feels relatively new, but it's Sam Parker, everybody. How are we doing, brother?
All good, brother.
Yeah?
All good.
Yeah? How's your day been so far, mate?
Yeah, all good. Apart from getting here an hour earlier. The time's wrong. Yeah,
He rung me. Well, we always do it at 2 p.m, the podcast, and he rung me at 1 o'clock and said, Is it 2 o'clock we're meant to be doing this at? What's going on? Yeah, you're running late, mate. No, you're running too early, mate. But today, bro, I mean, we're going to touch on like a lot of things about, well, PA, head coach role, CrossFit, just lifestyle, mate. He's newly married as well to Ellie Parker. Who sounds, but talk to me a little bit about who is Sam Parker? Give the people a bit of a backstory, brother. Because I know you used to work in the same place as Jamie, which was like a warehouse, wasn't it? Yeah. How did that sort of come about? Had you always been into like personal training? Like, had you done like one-to-one PT in person, or was it just boom straight going into online?
I've always been in training, for most of my life. I got in, like 15 years old, always developed like an early passion for it, shall we say. Always been very disciplined and just on that kind of lifestyle from the get-go. From being like a skinny guy, I always wanted to build up a little bit and not be that guy who's known as the skinny guy.
I've never seen you skinny, bro.
Well, you only know me since I've been.
Well, I've seen photos when you ballooned up and then you came back down, didn't you?
Well, that was it. I mean, when I was younger, like my nickname within the family was Skin and Bones. Like genuinely, my dad used to be Skin and Bones. Josh was Skin and Bones. So yeah, it's like a deep-seated thing. Like, I can't be this skinny guy anymore. It all stemmed from wanting to change that. And then just kind of fell in love with the process of training, becoming more disciplined as an individual. And it kind of just stemmed from there, to be honest. I mean, I've been through a lot in terms of different jobs. I've not always just been, gym focused when it's come to a job. I've been, like you said, worked in a warehouse. I've worked in that warehouse for like going on 5 years.
George said on the podcast, the management wasn't great.
Yeah, no, the management wasn't great there. I mean, it is what it is. It's not something that I see as a negative. Like, everyone goes through bad jobs. Everyone has to work for people they probably don't respect. And we're human. We've got to pay bills. We've got to do things that we've got to do. So, I mean, I didn't look at it as a negative. I built up. I showed to myself that because when I just started there, it was just for like a 6-week temp job, in the summer. And then within a few years, I was like the warehouse manager there. So I proved that I could be this committed guy, move my way up the ranks, even though it wasn't something that was my end goal. I proved to myself that I could do that, and I showed the commitment with that. It didn't end well, with the management, there was no respect there. And at the end of the day, you can't truly give your all for someone if you just don't feel appreciated or respected. So, that kind of came to an end, which came from obviously communicating with George. I've obviously known George a long time, so obviously at the time it was a different place where the business is compared to now. I think there was only a few, George, Harry, and a few of the coaches. So he kind of reached out to me and we had the conversation around because he knew me, he knew I was in the space, and obviously it was around the time when I was going through my big transformation of dropping all the weight that I'd what I'd done with the building thing, what I'd done with that. So he'd see me like dropping weight, getting into good shape. I was getting into CrossFit and that, and I think he liked that. But more than anything, like, I believe me and George connected just from more of like a just on a personal level, the way we saw things, the way we kind of connected around things.
Like your mindset around attitude around certain things.
Around the world, kind of like how I saw things. We connected well on that. And at the end of the day, I'm confident in myself with the work ethic that I've got. And then I just knew, and I said to George, I know I've got everything it takes. I just need an opportunity,
need the chance.
Opportunity, and
he took the opportunity, mate. Took the chance.
He gave me that opportunity.
Well, Sam is you know, there's a reason why he's the second head coach. Now, well, there's two head coaches. There's now Sam and there's Neil, who basically manage, like under Jamie, the coaches, you know, do like one-to-one meetings each week and basically just like look over check-ins, make sure the coaches are upholding the standard of the brand. But, you know, it's not just given to someone through like it being like a charity, you know, it's, you've got to earn it, haven't you? You've got to earn your stripes. And you know, Sam's had like for 2 years, one of the most transformations, or if not the most transformations to running. Well, to be fair, first year, in my first year, it was me and Sam, we were the only ones that hit our targets. So I can hold that, mate. I can hold that. But the sort of journey to that, bro, like what's your secret, bro, to getting all these transformations, mate?
What's the secret to getting transformations? I mean, I'd say connection, like the ability to be able to connect with a client and the energy that you give a client. Like ultimately, you know, I believe if you're a coach, like whether you're a Physique Academy coach or
just
whatever, any coach, you know, you should be able to program the basics to be able to understand, okay, here's where someone's at, this is where he wants to be, here's his goals, his ambitions, and be able to program training, nutrition, and say, okay, you know, all these different variables we can put together and roadmap your journey to your goals. But that's not enough just to get results. You know, you can give someone a plan, but that's not going to give them results.
I've said this before, like ChatGPT, bro, it's easy to like, or just like the knowledge of the principles of training. It's so easy. Once you've learned it, you've got it there. And now there's like with the internet, there's so much information online, bro, that people can literally just say to you, well, yeah, if anything, it's overwhelming for a lot of people. It's better just to keep the foundations there, innit? But, you know, and the foundations work, but it's easy to do. That's the easy part of coaching.
Well, then that's when, you know, the coaching and the best results, I believe, come from a coach who can really understand the client, like
on a deeper level.
Yeah, on a deeper level, like what's actually going on? Like, how have you actually got yourself into this place where, you know, if you're reaching out to someone for help, you know, you're lost, aren't you, at the end of the day? Like you
it's like help them find themselves in a way.
Find their real purpose for doing it. You know, it's not just basic level. You know, you can get some guys that you know, want to get in great shape and go on holiday and, you know, look the part. But, you know, even if someone comes to me and speaks like that, I quickly try and change that mindset. I don't see it like that. Like, I don't want to train someone just to get them in shape for a holiday and then a few months later, you know, they're back to where they were prior to that. It's about creating real change. Like, if we want to create real change and, you know, make a real imprint in the world, then we've got to make life-lasting changes with guys. So that's just as simple as just really understanding them, connecting with them, and just knowing how to get through to someone. Like, you know, a lot of people ask me that, and I feel like
the approach.
The approach, like, I love the job because there's so many different guys that you work with, so many different persons,
different backgrounds, cultures. Yeah,
everything's different. So, you know, that's why if you just set in one way of coaching, this is how I do things, you're only going to be able to work with a percentage of guys rather than being able to, you know, expand that over various different individuals from, you know, we're working with guys from around the world. So yeah, how to speak to guys, like, you know, you could have one client in this situation, two clients in the same situation, but you need to approach it differently depending on how you feel they're going to react or how they're going to take on board what you're saying. Some guys may need a little bit of a firmer talking to. Some guys may just need the arm around the shoulder. And I think the most important thing is just really understanding that and giving them what they need, giving them that support. And I think the biggest thing is your energy needs to show them that you want them to achieve that transformation more than they do. Like, I know passion. I want them to achieve that transformation. And I tell them that. I say, look, you know, if they're struggling or whatever it is, it's like, or they're not doing the work, that affects me, you know, and look, they know that. I'm like, look, it affects me. Why? Because I care. If you're coming to work with me, we're here to get the best results, and I'm going to show us how to get the best results. And if, you know, whatever's happened along the way, it's and
if you've got to have them tough conversations, you know, it's always good relaying that. I always like to have those tough conversations, but still be still have that other aspect of like having a soft touch as well with them, because I'm not saying I've got your best interest at heart. I only want the best for you. However, this is what we need to do, and then it just sort of it helps get your point across without just becoming across like a total dick, pretty much.
No, exactly. And like, if you spoke to any of my clients, I've got a great relationship with all my clients. Like, the first thing I always speak to them about is just trust. Like, all I need from you is trust in me, trust in the process, what I'll take you through. Like, I'm confident with what I do, and I know how to get you these results. So ultimately, all I need to ask of you is your trust, and then just your willingness to get up and take action. Like, it's not going to be a process of, perfection or just a linear line, but if we're always honest, I always say, look, I want you to trust me, and I want you to be comfortable and confident to come to me with anything, like personal issues. If there's something in the program that I put in there for you that
you don't like,
or you don't like, or there's this, then come and speak to me.
And this negates the negative feedback as well. It completely gets rid of it, because then you're putting that energy into that person and saying, look, if you're not committed, like, we don't know. If we don't know something, we can't act on it, we can't change on it, we can't support that person. So, and again, it goes back to like that it's not like a transactional thing. If it was transactional, it would just be very black and white. And that's with like the phases as well. Like, phase 1 is more black and white, but as you come into that second phase, like, that's why it's more important than phase 1, arguably, because obviously you're trying to come out of it, but it's more of a grey area, isn't it? Because people are going to react differently to different calories, to like a 500 calorie surplus, and based on their activity levels. So but so you're not always going to get it right as well. Like sometimes I've had maybe thought that someone might need a bit more of a tough talk, but they might have needed more of an arm around the shoulder. But you're always learning, aren't you? You're always learning.
And I think, and again, that just comes down with the energy as well. I think, if you give a client that energy, like, look, we have standards to follow, and, there's standards, and like, let's say like someone checking in on time, doing this, or, we ask for things like, you've got to get back to us with these things. But, there's a level of leniency that I'll give just to create that energy, because I know ultimately,
people have shit going on.
Yeah, people have shit going on. And ultimately, I'd like to think, look, if we've got this common ground with that set energy, then, say I do make a little mistake here, then, you're not going to come down on me for that. Because ultimately, like I say to, the guys I work with, I'm not expecting you to be perfect. You don't have to be perfect to achieve your goals. I'm not perfect all the time. So if, it's just about seeing it in that way. And then if they feel comfortable within that, they're going to give the best. They're going to give the best for the coach. But again, I always make them look at it as in, you're not doing this for me or Physique Academy. At the end of the day, you're creating this change for yourself. You came into the program by choice, and we're here to how I see it is, I want to show them really what they're capable of achieving. Like, just like yourself, you speak to a lot of guys, and you see them stuck in ruts, or they're not happy with where they're at, or even just from a health perspective, like how many guys sign up and like, a few guys are, I'm pre-diabetic, or I've got bad blood pressure, or I've got this related issue with my heart, and then they spend a couple of months just simple as exercising consistently and eating good foods, and like, man, my blood pressure's down. There's a guy recently, he's like pre-diabetic, he's like, I've gone and got my test done, and it's looking in such a healthier range again. So there's so many different variables as to what we can use to get these guys to see why we do this work.
It's different for everyone, because people have different preferences when they're coming into the program. That's why it's a tailored approach. But yeah, I think we're very similar coaches in that aspect, because I think my advice for new coaches coming into the brand, or just any new coaches in general, is, again, they've got that black and white mentality of like, it's for maybe focusing not too much, but like on the training, the nutrition, checking in on time. Like, I know, like, it's good discipline or resilience building for people. If we have like our American guys, and we say if it's past 1 o'clock, like 2 minutes past, I'm not checking you in until the next week. It's good mental resilience building, but on the same breath, And it's always based off the relationship that I've got with that individual. It's subjective to them, because if, like, say if it's a one-off, or I know they're going through this and, you know, they're busy with work, it's no problem. You know, we'll still catch up. I still want to touch base with you, and we're still going to communicate throughout the week. I'm not just going to not completely at all check you in some way until the following week. But like you say, you know, it depends. It's all about perspective and how you look at it as well. Because I know, like, some coaches would do that and they might get better results, and then it's going to help them manage their time better. But I suppose it's like, as a coach, it's the sacrifice that we're making for our clients, which is down to us at the end of the day, isn't it?
It's definitely down to us. But like, for me, I'm thinking, look, I need to check every guy in the week. Like, I want every guy to check in. And at the end of the day, how I see it, if someone isn't checking in and there's no real reason why they haven't checked in, then they're just trying to hide from something. And it's like, I'm not in this you know, I'm not a coach. I'm not here to, like, beat you down. I'm not here to give you shit. I'm here to help. Like, I'm here to elevate you, brother. So if you've had a tough week, why do you feel the need not to check that in with me? Do you know what I mean? Like, that's the space we've got to create. Like I said, if we make them feel comfortable and confident, they'll come to us with all these struggles, and ultimately they're the weeks they need to check in more than ever. Like I say, like, look, you've had a perfect week, great, perfect, but are you going to turn up when things are getting tough, when the going gets tough? Because that's really where it counts. And that's what's, you know, I want to instill in every guy I work with is that in itself. So, I mean, leniency around check-ins, like I said, it's just the energy you give to them, and but
also the energy they give back to you as well.
Because if you're all right, you miss your deadline by 5 minutes, you're not getting checked in this week, you know, they're going to be like, and I get it, like, we're trying to instill discipline, but
they're also paying an X amount of money.
They're paying good money, but also these guys, especially, like, and there's a difference between someone who's been on board for a good period of time, and they're taking the mick with not checking in, and I'll pick them up. I'm like, right, like, what's going on? Or I'm not checking you in this week because you're not giving me the respect.
Exactly, yeah. It's a mutual exchange. That's what I was trying to get at, you know, with like their respect towards you. If they've not, like, given you any notice, sorry, like, my check-in's running late, or, you know, they don't respond for 3 days, then they're like, we're investing that energy into them, but it's not reciprocated. So that's when you know, again, based off the approach that we might use from our coaching methods, is we might, you know, be like, well, I'm not checking you in until next week, until, you know, you learn that, like, this is a mutual respect exchange, and it's not...
There's got to be that mutual respect there. There's got to be, so no, yeah, 100%. But yeah, like I was saying, you know, there's guys, like, who come into the program and they're maybe just not used to having this level of accountability ever. Like, so I can appreciate, like, with some newer guys, you know, they might find it difficult.
It's overwhelming.
It can be quite overwhelming. Like, yeah, we really are checking in every week, and yeah, I really am going to push you every week, and at the end of the day, that's what you signed up to the program for. It's not meant to be comfortable. You don't just sign up to a program and the results happen. No, you sign up to a program so you can get the support and the guidance to get the best results, and that's what we're here to get, best results in the industry. That's what we do.
Yeah, it's like, you can't just throw, I said this on the last podcast, can't just throw money at a problem and expect the problem to go away, can you? Exactly. With a service like ours anyway, it requires communication, sacrificing. But for like people that don't maybe start missing check-ins, like, what's like what a common theme with them sort of people? Do you think it's something more mentally? Do you think it's you know, they've just tied up with work, or, like you say, you know, they've missed the majority of the training that week and they just don't want to own it up to themselves?
Yeah, I think there's different reasons, but I mean, there's two really that I would look at. Like, if someone misses a check-in and there's no reason for it, and it's, yeah, don't worry, I'll make sure I check in next week. It's like, no, you're still checking in. Like, what do you mean? I still need it's our job. Like, that's what I said. I'm like, look, this is my job at the end of the day, and I need you to check in so I can do my job to the best of my ability. If you're not checking in, then
And we're left in the dark. Exactly. You know, they might need support around an off-plan social. They might need, like, exercises changing if they're traveling for work, or if they've got limited equipment gym. And then it's like, it is effectively just splitting money down the drain.
It baffles me, brother. Like, I'm sometimes like, man, this guy isn't checking in. He's paying this money and he's not even communicating with me. And I'm like,
And then, but it's for like people that are a little bit more sensitive. Like, I'm generally a little bit more of a sensitive person. So if there is like not necessarily a dispute, so I don't get many of those. But if someone starts to like ghost, like it might just be something simple like that. You know, they're having more family time, or you know, they're just having more time away from the phone. They're more busy with work. It could be anything, couldn't it? But for me, then I'm like, have I annoyed them? Like, what? Why? Did they not like me? Do you not like me, bro?
What's going on, man?
But again, like it's just, it ultimately comes down to just communication. Without communication, bro, then you're just left in the dark, innit?
Well, that's why the first impressions are everything, because I wouldn't like to think any of my clients would just start ghosting me or just stop checking in. Look, it happens. Like, it will happen every now and then. It will. But you know, it's even like you said before, relating back to whether you know some feedback comes back and you're a bit unsure as to, okay, well, why is this guy saying that? Like, that was never raised while we were working together. Yeah. So and you know, going over this with some of the coaches, like, we should not find something out like that through some feedback. That should be something that is an open relationship discussion with coach and client. Mm-hmm. You know, I think it's happened to me once, and you know, someone, it said something in a bit of the feedback, or he wasn't happy with this, and I just went, I was like, brother, like, if that's true, why am I bring it about it now? Yeah. Like, I've said to you every week, every time we spoke, every week, like,
asking the questions.
Anything, brother, that's what I'm here for. Come to me in the week. We're not just, we have this weekly check-in. This is our touch point of the whole, but I'm still here every day through the week, and you've got to communicate with me on these things, because like you said before, it's too late saying it all that way down there. What have we been doing with all this time? like Yeah.
And I think it's a mindset as a coach, because you're so much of a perfectionist as well. Like, you end up beating yourself up, but then you know that you've, you know, like what, because again, once it's looked into, there might be maybe, I don't know, one or two things that, like, when you're looking, doing like looking over check-ins and stuff with coaches, or WhatsApp communication or whatever, when they share the screen. But I think it's more so for your own reassurance, that you know for a fact that you've done everything for that person, and they've just, you've not respected the communication on it, and, you know, not relayed that back to you.
That was it. And I always ask guys, you know, when you know, throughout the process, or when you know, we've got through the process and the journey's coming to the end, like, you know, even if there's anything more I can give you that's going to help you get to your goals, then let me know, because as an individual and as a coach, I'm always trying to improve what I do and improve the service that I give. So obviously, getting it firsthand from the guys you're working with is always going to be the most important feedback that you can get, because they're giving it you firsthand, and you're like, okay, well, that's what you need, then this is what we'll do for that.
Yeah, and Terence has been good for that, for the client success, for doing like the 30, 60, 90 day, because sometimes there might be one or two things in there where, like, I'll sort of like relate it back to the client and just sort of go over it with them, because then at least then it's not like, you know, they've just said, oh, I want to leave the program, or why? And then, you know, it's something that you found out, oh, you know, I need my nutrition changing, but they've not disclosed that to us. So it gives us an opportunity then to actually go over it with them, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Have you like any of your coaching methods changed now since you've become head coach, would you say? Or do you think, or like, but the way you now relay your coaching, so I keep saying that, it's like it's like a buzzword, isn't it? Relay. Relay. Like, when you're doing like one-to-ones with coaches, do you like change your coaching methods to suit that particular coach, or
with the coaches,
and yourself? Like, so I have two questions really. Have your coaching methods changed since, you know, you've come into more of a leadership role? Yeah. And second question is, you know, do you adapt your coaching methods maybe away from your own to suit the coach that you're coaching, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I wouldn't say anything's changed in terms of my method since I've become a head coach. Like, obviously, if I reflect on how I performed over the last few years, you know, I don't look at it and think, oh, I need to improve or change this. Unless, you know, look, I'm always wanting to develop in areas of myself, in my specifics. But when it comes to coaching, like I said, it's always adapting anyway. Like, it's always adapting to the client. So with the coaches, it's just being the same. Like, with the coaches that I'm working with, And honestly, I've enjoyed it. Like, it's been a nice change after doing just 3 years of working with just clients. And it was something I was a bit apprehensive about, taking the head coach role, because of just how well I was doing. And obviously I was being recognized for that. And I was, okay, well, what's going to change doing this? I'm going to be working with, much less clients, meaning I'm going to be getting less results from just a transformation standpoint, which is what makes you stand out as a coach, is results. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to take a hit on that. But then ultimately, I like to look at the bigger picture of what we're building, as a brand at Physique Academy. I see it as, we're building something big. Do you know what I mean? And I like to see, we're building a legacy. And if I've got the opportunity to be, not at the forefront of that, but in, higher up with that, then it was something that I had to go for. And yeah, since I've been in it, it's been a welcome change as well. And it's like, it develops me as well, because when you're working with clients, it's interesting how you can, manipulate how you are with those guys, but you don't know them. So but then, I'm working with coaches who I know, personally.
On a personal way, yeah.
And sometimes,
Meals out.
Yeah, exactly. But we got a good relationship with them, and I love all the guys, all the coaches on the team. I know there's some guys that we've not met, like, who live away and things like that, they've not been able to get on a team trip. But yeah, I think with the coaches, and that's why I love doing what I'm doing, because I came in and I was like, well, I feel like, and they're all great coaches, I'm not taking anything away from them, but I'm like, you know what, I can help these coaches in areas. Like, every coach has their strength, and every coach, and how much is tracked now with data, and you can see, okay, this coach is performing really well in this area. This coach maybe needs to just improve slightly in this area. So, I feel confident with my performance in terms of, my stats have a good average across the board. So it's like, well, I know how to get good retention. I know how to get good results. I know the ins and outs of what we do, and I can help the coaches in areas, quite quickly with that. Like, since I've been working with some of with the coaches, there's been areas I've been like, man, I've had one call, I'm like, I can help this guy get better pretty quickly just by addressing a few little things. It's only little things sometimes. It's like, okay, just look into this, and straight away you can see positive changes as well, which makes me feel good, because ultimately, then it's like, okay, it's like that satisfaction of
still helping clients, but through another coach, because it's like a larger pool of clients in a way, isn't it? Because obviously, like, each coach is coaching X amount of people, and it's like you're helping in a way, like, each individually. So it's like you're coaching hundreds rather than, like you said, client base. How many clients have you come down to?
Oh man, well, I'm coming down to around 25. I'm still not quite there. Obviously, I couldn't just be like, hey, you got to go. I'm going into a new role. I didn't want to do that. Like I said, I got a good relationship with everyone I work with. So see you later.
Yeah. So, I'm on to bigger and better now.
So it's been busy. It's been a busy start to this year. Don't get me wrong. Taking on the new role, there's a lot more responsibility that comes with that. Still keeping up with the same client count, but slowly bringing it down. It put me in a position where there was guys who I'd been working with for a couple of years, like over 2 years, and I was thinking, man, I'm working with a lot of clients here. I've got a lot of extras coming in with the head coaching role. Maybe it's time to speak to these guys. And I'd known, like, these guys can go on their own now. They've been through
basically telling them to go.
Yeah. And I've had that conversation with a couple of the guys. I was like, you're ready to go on your own. Like, you are ready. Like,
ready, Jenna.
And it was always like, he's like, I know, but I just love the check-ins. I love the accountability, and I just love the energy that you give me each week. I was like, I get that, brother.
Yeah, again, the energy, bro. Keyword,
energy. I was like, now's the time. You've been through the phases. You're only on program now because you're loving the energy from the check-ins.
Yeah, it's basically just becomes like they're paying you for like a friendship at that point. Like, exactly. I had to have the conversation. I had a guy that finished his transformation recently, like his phase 2. I've worked with him. He was like one of my first guys in January of 2023. And, and he's lost his dad, he's lost his cousin. Like, they've passed away during the program. He's broken up with his partner. He's like had a lot of stuff going on with work. Basically loads of stuff like that I've been through every step of the way out throughout with him. And then it's like, I had a phone call with him, and like, it just gets to a point where, we're realists, and we want to help as many guys as possible. But at that point, they're not getting the most value out of the program. Like we've been over the best hydration methods, you know, how you can improve your sleep, you know, your time management, all these things habitually. We've been over all that, and now you know how to do drop sets, you know how to do supersets, you know how to do giant sets, you know how to structure your own training, and you know how many calories you need to be on at maintenance versus a deficit versus like we've been over everything. So it's like, what's the point in you staying on?
You completed it.
Yeah, you completed it, mate. Jim, complete it, mate.
That's it, then, brother. But I look at it and I'm like, right, you know, if I'm not there for this guy, is he going to be all right? And the guys that I spoke to, I was like, you don't need me to hold you accountable. You're your own accountability partner now. You're coming into the check-ins and I'm not giving you any direction anymore. I'm just saying, brother, you're a warrior. Just keep doing what you're doing. You know what you're doing. So at the end of the day, you know, the goal is to guys not to stay. I know, of course, your retention's nice, but guys aren't going to be on program forever. And ultimately, we want to create that space for other guys who, you know, need it more. But the guys that left, you know, still staying, you know, a good relationship with them, and they're all still staying in just like I said, you know, confident they'll keep it. It's when you see it, they see it as a lifestyle, you know, when they see it as a lifestyle and they've been disciplined with that for 12 plus months or whatever. You're like, this guy's, he's got it. Like he gets what it's all about. It's not just I'm training for this or I'm doing this. No, it's just a part of who I am because it allows me to perform at my best in my waking day. You know, if I didn't train, I would have no energy. I'd probably, you know, if I didn't sleep well, if I didn't eat well, if I didn't train, I don't know who I would be or where I would be. So then when I speak to people who don't understand why they've got no energy, drive, ambition or motivation in life yet, they, you know, they don't exercise, they fucking work all the time, come home, put microwave food in the microwave and then eat that watching TV. And then I'm like, man, do you really need me to tell you why you've got no energy? Do you know, like, energy creates energy. If you get up and you do something, you're gonna start to create some energy. So, yeah, a lot to it.
Yeah, is that for someone coming into like or coming up to the end of a first phase? Because you know, so for some guys, you know, we work with guys for a minimum of 6 months. For people that like where it takes like 6 to 8 months, and you know they're just coming up to finishing phase 1, and then they say, you know, I want to leave the program. Like, is that sort of how you would describe the sort of importance of that second phase, in the sense that it's like, you know, it's not a lifestyle change at this point. You know, you've got to the end of phase 1, but that's not necessarily sustainable long term. Like if you want to stay at like around a low calorie count and you have to remain super rigid with your nutrition year round, then maybe you could stay the condition that you're at, but that's not the goal. The goal is to get you up to a point where you may be able to train less, do less cardio, but, you know, still keep it part of your identity and have more off-plan food and drinks on the weekend, but still be able to maintain the results.
Well, that's it. I think, and again, that's down to, you know, preference of the individual, but your average guy isn't going to want to get to the end of phase 1 and think, this is where I want to stay. I'm happy. You know what I mean? Like from like a life balance perspective, it's not sustainable. Like guys get to the end of phase 1 and they probably, you know, they're welcoming some more calories. But when it comes to phase 2, like, you know, it's not something that should be coming up at that 6 month mark or whenever the end of their phase, you know, 6 months. I don't talk in timeframes to anyone that I work with. It's got nothing to do with timeframes. If you speak in timeframes, then you're limiting things with time, and ultimately, no one can guarantee where to be.
It's pressure as well.
Exactly.
I mean, pressure creates diamonds in a sense, but you know, it's good to have like that weight target. But then sometimes,
yeah, like, no, I mean, in terms of, I'll give targets. Okay. This is where I want to get to.
Milestones.
But, milestones, checkpoints. But what I'm saying is I'm not just going to put a time limit on a phase 1, or what I mean by that is,
you mean at the very beginning.
The process isn't 6 months, and the process isn't phase 1. So if a client is in a mindset of, I'm just doing this phase 1, then the coaching's not been right from the start, because that shouldn't be an area of thought in their mind.
And it should be talked about like throughout phase 1. It's not just like because then you're just fixating yourself on phase 1 and they see that as the end goal, whereas the end of phase 1 is not the end goal.
They need to, that's it. It's just road mapping clearly. They need to have clarity on what they're doing as well. Otherwise they're just sometimes going round in circles. So we've got to have clarity to it. You know, we've got to have clarity, and say, look, this is the process I'm taking you through. Phase 1, this is what phase 1's going to do. You know, we know this, you know, transformation phase, whatever you want to call it. We're going to get you in great shape, and we're going to instill a great level of just discipline, habits, and just a healthy lifestyle to obtain that. Now, it's not going to be sustainable in the long term because no one wants to live in a deficit, and it's going to get tough and challenging depending on, you know, the duration of the journey, the amount of weight you've got to drop. But once we finish phase 1, this is where you're going to shine, brother. You know, I'm going to get you fueled better. We're going to do a reverse diet, and then we can start, you know, really pushing into some specifics of performance or whatever it may be. But I'm always selling phase. It's not that I'm selling phase 2. Selling it. No, it's not that I'm selling phase 2. I just know the importance of it. I just know if you don't come and work a phase 1 and leave the program, because I'm telling you now, 3 months later, you're probably going to be coming back onto the program because you don't know how to reverse diet, and you're going to put that weight back on, and you're not going to be able to sustain what you've achieved. So,
and don't get me wrong, you like, no matter how communicating you are for phase 2, you know, financial issues, whatever, things are going to come up where ultimately someone is either going to have to pause or leave the program. When they may be nearing the end of phase 1, or they've, you know, just finished phase 1, they've not gone all the way through phase 2. But then I have had a few conversations where someone has sort of come back to me maybe like a year down the line, and, you know, they've put like this amount of weight on, and it's like, I told you so. Yeah. In a way, like,
yeah,
as brutal as it is.
As bad as it sounds, I mean, look, we're all human, and we all have our own emotional state, you know what I mean? And I've had guys commit, you know, to me, if someone's working with me, we're committing to the process. I'm not just talking about phase 1. You're committing to the process. Like, that's what you're committing to if you come and work with me. And if you're not going to commit to that, then I'm not to sound bad, but I'm not wasting my time, essentially, because I'm here to get real results that you can leave the program with, and they'll last you a lifetime. You don't need to go and speak to AI or chat GBT to tell you this, or hire another PT or that. You've got everything that you need. If it takes you 6 months, great. If it takes you 12 months, great. If it takes you 2 years, great. You're still going to be leaving.
So I had a guy recently, not too long ago, where it did take him 2 years to finish phase 1. But you know, I always say the more sustainable journeys are the better ones, because they're learning more about themselves. And, you know, like they would have found themselves throughout those 2 years. Whereas, don't get me wrong, it's good for us to get a transformation in 16 weeks, but have they learned or like more habitually about themselves, or, you know, how to manage the results? They've learned to hate the process rather than actually love the process. You know what I mean? Yeah.
But that's just the different journeys as well, because that's what I love. Like, I mean, not that it's all good work, don't get me wrong, but someone dropping 5 or 6 kilograms and someone who's already in pretty good nick just getting their abs popping and getting in that, let's say, magazine cover shape, it's great. But there's something that's a lot more rewarding, taking a guy who's dropping like 50 pounds plus and who genuinely changes his life in the process of doing that. Someone who's already in shape, training in the gym, but wants to just know how to dial in and get to a certain body fat percentage or condition that they've never got into, that's great. But those bigger journeys, I love those, brother. That's the real work for me. Yeah.
And you've obviously been through it, bro, when you ballooned up. And you got shredded, bro. You were a big dog, bro. You were a bull. I remember seeing that photo, bro. Wow.
I won't even recognize myself.
Stocky guy, bro. How many years ago was that?
So that would have been 2020.
2020. And why? What was that? Just like a bulk that went too far?
You said it. What else could you call it? Was just a bulk that went too far, brother. That's all it was.
Intention though, like you were actually trying to bulk. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, look. Like I said before, I was sick of being. It was like on a subconscious level and mental level. I was like, I need to be this big guy. You know, I had a few experiences that had happened in my life where I'd been, you know, just overpowered or taken advantage of, you know, not happy with skin and bones and all that kind of crap. So I don't know, it all plays a role. There's things that play into that, like there's things that play into that. But yeah, it was a good few years of bulking, that was.
Did you think, well, what was like the insecurity for you being too skinny? Where do you think that stems from?
I just didn't want to be skinny. You know, I just didn't want to be skinny. I mean, where did that, do you know what? I remember.
I was the same though.
Yeah.
I was the same.
I was some pictures, now look at you, jacked.
I know, mate, I know. But I think for me, it was sport. I think I wanted like doing like rugby and stuff and football, and I think it's more like you want to be able to, you want to sort of have more probability of being able to protect yourself. And
that was a big one for me. That was a big one for me. The ability to be able to protect myself. And I'm not, I'm not,
and your partner.
I'm not an aggressive person. I'm not a fighter. I'm a lover. Anyone who knows me knows that. You know that, brother. I'm a lover.
You are, mate. He's a huggable guy. I'll tell you that.
I'm only here to give love, me, bro. I'm here to give love. But I've had experiences where people have taken advantage of me, and I've not been able to protect myself, and I've been in situations I never want to be in again. And that ultimately came down to I was just overpowered and wasn't able to protect myself, and so there's a lot of things that play its part into why I did that, and why I think I pushed myself to a level where I knew it was unhealthy. But ultimately, it's built the guy sitting here today. Do you know what I mean? So
I had this conversation. Did you watch the podcast with Nicola?
I've not.
No, you've not. No,
I spoke to you about that.
We have. We sort of touched on that. It's learning about yourself. It's all lessons learned in it. It's building the future you. Where, like I could say, for me, I think wanting to put on a lot more weight stemmed from like early childhood. My dad was like 19 stone on gear, absolutely massive. Yeah, like his shoulders were like just rock solid, bro. Like
those bad boys come from, bro. Mr. Absolute wingspan.
But I think that came from like me being. As a young kid with like certain things going on, just being absolutely shit scared of him, and then wanting to like get bigger because I felt like I was always like pushed around on certain things happening. So it's like there's certain triggers like that you sort of think back and think, that's what led me into this. And I had a conversation with a client recently where I actually said, I think all of that going on in like childhood, it's led me to where I'm at today, where like ironically I'm only coaching men, from like all that stuff going on in childhood with my dad. So like when you actually think back and reflect to like what's the steps that have led you, like the journey that's led you to this point now, and now I'm like the most satisfied and fulfilled that I've been in the role that I'm doing, changing lives. It's like it was my calling, bro.
I can resonate with that, brother. I can resonate 100% with that.
Yeah.
Same.
And for going back to like, trading now, bro, so we went off a little bit there. Going from more bodybuilding, then obviously like was it like from 2020 when you were at that weight that you started to get more into CrossFit, which is how you lost the weight?
Yeah. Well, in lockdown, obviously everything was locked down. Yeah. There's a health crisis, so let's shut all the gyms. Brilliant idea. Do you know what I mean? Let's shut all the gyms. Let's give everyone free takeaways. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I'm still standing at doors.
Who thought this one? Who thought of that? Brilliant. The system that we live in. Hey.
Population control. We're not going into conspiracies, bro. This isn't a conspiracy theorist podcast.
It's not a conspiracy. No, but I mean, we went into lockdowns, and I actually moved over and moved in with Ellie, my wife, and her family. They've got a nice place and some. There was nice space there, so I moved over there, and I was realizing, okay, because at the time I was eating all this food, and I was like force feeding and drinking calories just to maintain like the weight that I was at.
And what weight were you?
117 kilograms. Oof. Like I was like 18 stone, just over 18 stone. From my height, 5'10", 5'11".
Yeah.
I'm a chunky guy. You know what I mean? Like,
just a ball, mate.
I was big guy. But I didn't look good. You know what I mean?
And you probably didn't feel good as well from all that food you were.
Horrific.
Yeah.
So that was really what happened. Like lockdown hit. Gyms were closed. I had a pair of 22 kilogram dumbbells. I had a fixed barbell at 30 kilograms, and I'm trying to work out like that's so light, especially like, do you know what I mean? So I'm there like, I got like 2 weeks into lockdown. I'm still sat there before bed trying to drink this 1,500 calorie shake, like sweating and sat in the bed like this, and I'm thinking, what am I doing? Like, I'm not even like this isn't. I can't even go and try and squat some heavy weight to make myself feel good about it now. So I had nothing. So I realized like, what am I doing? Like, what am I actually doing? Because the goal for me wasn't actually to be strong. I just wanted to look good, but I just wasn't doing what I needed to do to look good because it was just like I need to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And then, that was the reason I thought I need to start doing stuff. I started doing a bit of cardio. I was like, I need to drop some weight. I'd spoke to actually George at the time. It was a while. He'd come in. I seen him in like one of the gyms in Horwich, and I was speaking to him, and I was getting this problem where I was like waking myself up in mid sleep, like wake up like out of breath, like I'd stop. And I spoke to George, I can't remember what he said.
Pressure on your organs.
Yeah,
sort of
it's like, oh, it's this. He's because he's like, oh, he was like, I used to get it back when he was like back in the day when he used to bulk up. He was like, yeah, you need to drop some weight. It's not healthy and all this. So I was like, yeah, I need to do that. And lockdown kicked in. I was like, yeah, I need to do that. And then I started doing a little bit of cardio. I started trying to drop a little bit of weight. Just stopped force feeding myself, and it wasn't hard to drop weight because I was eating so much just to maintain it at that point that if I just pulled out like a 1500 calorie shake, obviously you're going to start dropping weight. So it started dropping pretty quick. I dropped a couple of stone pretty quick. I got down to like 16 stone. And then one of my mates who I hadn't seen in a while, one of my close mates, he actually, obviously lockdown's still going on, and I've bought some more equipment and set up a gym in my garage. And I'd not seen him for a while, and he'd come back into the area, and I'd message him. I was like, brother, like, let's do a session. It's been a while, been a long time. Come on, let's do a session. And he'd been messaging me like, oh, he'd been getting into CrossFit. I was still didn't really see it for what it was. I was like, you little bitch doing CrossFit and all this. Let's go lift some weight. Let's do some proper training. Anyway, he came down, put me through a CrossFit session. I'm there. I was dead. I was like, and this guy, and he was flying. And then at the end of the session, he took, and I'm still carrying a lot of fat, and he took his top off at the end of the session, and he was just ripped. You know what I mean? And I was like, man, you look insane. And I genuinely believe like him taking his, no homo here, but him taking his t-shirt off was like a driving factor. I was like, man, you look so good. Like, I just remember saying, I was like, brother, and he never looked like we trained in the past before, and he had, didn't really have anything. And then I was like, man, you look insane. Like, you look so good. And then that's the guy who I competed with in CrossFit a few weeks ago. Big shout out to Tom Alpham. He's really the reason I got into CrossFit, or is the reason I got into CrossFit. And then from there, I just fell in love with that. I fell in love with CrossFit. I love where I train CrossFit. It's a great group. I love the community side to it.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, it's like it's a team effort, isn't it? A lot of it, yeah.
It's a team effort, and it's just, I love I've spoke about energy a fair bit, but I love the energy of it. You know what I mean? Like the people, at the end of the day, we all go down, we have a laugh, we'll chat some Mac, and then we'll just go to town and kill each other in a session. And everyone's got their same mentality, like we'll go down and we'll kill it, but we'll still have a laugh before it, and then we'll laugh at each other when we're dying after it. And it's just it's that mentality, like everyone's, and it's good. There's some women in there like in the 40s.
So fit, so fit,
ridiculously fit. There's a group who come in the class after me. Some older women who go in there, 60s, 70s. And it's just perspective as well. I'm like, man, I'm watching like some 60, 70-year-old women, and they're not throwing around the heaviest weight, obviously, but the skipping, the jumping up on boxes, the moving. I'm like, man, look at, you can be at that age and still be so healthy. And then you can see, people who don't look after their health through life, and they're just in no way.
I've always thought though, like from a lot of the movements, like hang cleans, clean and jerks, they like it's all full body, isn't it? Which is good, but injuries, bro. Do you not get a lot, like, because I have seen a lot of CrossFitters that do get like shoulder injuries and then problems with like the knees or hamstrings and stuff. But that's something I think, because it's very high impact, isn't it? It's like what we did in Tenerife wasn't. You had like snatches in there, which could sort of be a little bit like that, but it wasn't really anything that was too barbell complex.
I think he tailored it well to the group.
Yeah. So people that have never done like a clean and jerk, that'll be a sight, wouldn't it?
That would be funny. Injuries. I've not got I'm always playing with niggles. Don't get me wrong. Like I've been like nursing a shoulder rotator cuff in my left. My knees always kind of on and off with those. But I don't just solely train CrossFit. There's a good balance and a good breakdown between the CrossFit and the general hypertrophy and strength training that I do. But look, there's potential injury with everything that you do, but you can get seriously injured doing your Olympic movements if you don't get it right. And you see guys who've been doing CrossFit for a great amount of time who are really good, just catch a snatch wrong or catch, you can put yourself out. Like there's a guy who trains at my CrossFit, Nick, like he was just doing some snatch balance, caught the weight overhead. I think he had like 90 kg catching it, an overhead snatch.
Well, again, yeah, that move, because that is something that I've had, like overhead squats.
Yeah.
I've done like not in a while, but like, because you have to have your wrists cut back in this position. Yeah, and it's even now without any weight, I can feel it on my shoulder. So that again, like, I was thinking as I was doing it, I was like, oh my God, like I've got like hardly any weight on this barbell. Like, how do guys do this for like 80, 90, 100 kilos, bro?
I think he was doing it. I think we built up to like 90 kilograms or something. And he'd already, it's funny speaking to him, he's like, oh, I don't know why I did it. He'd done it, he'd done a rep, great. And he was like, oh, I just want to do it again and just make it feel a little bit nicer. See if I can catch it solid. Did it and then fucking sold it out.
But something like that, you don't come back from. That is now, that's going to...
12 months now and he's not back. He's
what I mean.
himself up with training, with what he can, and he's recovering really well. And respect to the guy, like he's keeping himself active, he's keeping himself up and positive, but man, that's rough. Like, if I snapped my shoulder out like that, yeah, don't want to
it's like some of it, just for me anyway, that's never really done CrossFit, it looks a bit awkward. And when Jamie was on the podcast, out of like at the end, he said if he could train one style of training, whether that's hypertrophy, high rocks, CrossFit, he would choose CrossFit just because it is like a combination of everything, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that's what I love about it, and that's why I love competing in it, is you don't know what's going to be programmed on the actual day. You know, you turn up and it's like, okay, here's the events, here's the sessions that you're going to be doing. It's all right, well, you better make sure you're prepared for anything that could come up. You know?
Yeah, but like, let's say, for example, like, you know, you've got like wall balls in there or like heavy squats that you've done legs today before. Like, how do you program your training, bro, around it? I don't know.
I'm an idiot. I just do as I'm told. I just rock up and Lindsay, the woman who programs the training at the CrossFit, she kind of just puts it in. I'll try my best to tailor it, but yeah, I end up hitting legs like 3-4 times a week.
Really?
Yeah,
no wonder, mate. With them juicy quads.
Yeah, that's what's going down. Well, Sunday is like a day. It's always been staple leg day. Like Sunday, we're going to hit some heavy squats and we're going to hit the legs, and then I'll go in on Monday. Okay, well, we've got squat cleans, we've got some box step overs with some dumb. I'm like, yeah, but I think you just conditioned to it. You know, at the start it was tough, and now I kind of just get it done. Do you know what I mean?
How many days do you do straight? Like go to these CrossFit classes?
So I do CrossFit Monday. Well, I do 4 hypertrophy sessions a week.
Push pull legs.
I do push pull legs just to get them all in, and then cheeky Saturday arm session. Can't go wrong with
We're doing arms today. We're going to do it today.
Juicy arms. And then CrossFit, I'll go 3 days a week, but I'll do an individual conditioning session as well, just from like a C2 perspective, just like something on the C2. So CrossFit 3 times a week, but I do 4 kind of CrossFit conditioning sessions and then 4 strength hypertrophy sessions.
And for like, so this is the reason why I asked this is for people that want to get into maybe CrossFit, but again, like that'd be a concern for me, is like recovery and like being able to program your. Have you got like guys that you work with in the program that are like just heavily, I've come to you for like that sort of CrossFit, or is it more like body comp?
Well, yeah, no, I'm not working with anybody who's specific, like, okay, I'm doing CrossFit, there's no intention of changing body composition and I'm just focusing on performance. There's no one like that, but I work with a lot of guys who train in CrossFit. They might be part of like a CrossFit community and they've got a group that they already do, and then that's great. I'm all for that. Like, if you're having your program for you by someone and you're in a setting in a CrossFit community, then that's great. I'd want you to do that, because you're gonna have someone there showing you through all the movement patterns, and you just got the energy around you that you need for it. So yeah, no one specific, but I work with guys who compete in like high rocks and CrossFit things, but it's not like just specific. That's like we do anyway. We can work on multiple things at once. Yeah, you might not be in an optimal state for this, but this is priority right now, and we'll find them nice roundabout way.
Would you never want to get into high rocks? Because I've seen it where like there's like elite CrossFitters that are like insane doing like a WOD, but then they come and do a high rocks, and like it's just you'd think on paper it would translate.
Well, you would. I mean, I wouldn't translate too well because I'm not the biggest fan of running. Just don't do too much running. If I was going to do it, I'd have to put a lot of
time and effort into running.
I don't run. I'll do running if it's in a CrossFit workout. Like there'll be there'll be runs in there, but it's not like I'll think, oh, I can't wait to get out for a run today. I just don't enjoy it. And if I was to do a high rocks, I'd have to jump into that.
Moving on, brother. I wanted to speak to you about marriage. When was it you got married?
Don't ask the actual date. No, it was August last year.
You better not miss it this year, brother. Anniversary. Can you imagine?
Yeah, no, it was 10th of August last year. So yeah, it's still nice and fresh.
Nice. Has that sort of had any impact on the way you approach your routine, like work-life balance, maybe?
Honestly, brother, nothing's changed.
Nothing. Yeah,
Nothing. Like I've been with Ellie since I was 16.
Yeah. So it's not like you've been married a year and then you're tired. And I think people have this like
I definitely
expectancy.
made sure she was the right one. I waited for a long time, a long time. But no. Joking aside, no, nothing's changed because we're already living together. We're already, we're just in a good place. I was the first one, so then you start getting hints being thrown in from everyone else. So I've started the chain. I've started the chain reaction now.
Now, how old were you when you got together?
16.
16. Okay, me and Charlotte were 15. So, yeah. I mean, might happen in the future, but I think I'm not one to give like loads of relationship advice. Yeah, I know I've had quite a successful relationship.
Long-term relationship.
Yeah, and
maybe
so some people do.
Style of coaching.
Maybe I should become a relationship coach. Yeah, but like a life coach, bro. I think I'd be all right. That's fair. Some people have actually come to me for like relationship advice, but like you say, it's a job that you've got, or something that you've got to keep working on consistently, and not. For me with Charlotte, I think a big thing was it not being in each other's pockets all the time, it being too intense, because you still need your own time. Like I've had friends that have gone into too fast into like a relationship, maybe not too fast, but they've got into a relationship with someone, and then in that honeymoon phase, don't get me wrong, you want to be with each other all the time, but then like one of my mates, like within a week, she's like living around it is like they see each other every single day. It's like, bro, we just slow down. It's too much too soon. And I think that's one of my like secret relationship hacks that has allowed us, because like I can go for like days out with the boys, and then I've got her as well, so
you need that. We all need that. Do you know what? If when friends or anyone has spoke to me or asked me that kind of question about relationships, or struggling in my relationship with this, and I'm like, they've only been together for how long? It's like, well, I always say, like, how much time do you spend together? And I don't want to, and if you're spending all your time together, then that's also going to cause problems. Like I know me and Ellie worked so well because when we first met in college, like she lived. If we had to see each other, we had to get 2 trains and a bus. Do you know what I mean? So the fact that it took 2 trains and a bus to see each other, if she lived in my town, we'd have been together all the time. So it's kind of like a blessing that we didn't, because then you can appreciate that time more when you come together. You have the time to miss each other and things like that. But no, I mean, now we live together, but we've got a foundation of we're solid on our own. Do you know what I mean? Everyone in a relationship should be solid on their own. Like, I feel that that's an important thing. Everyone should be comfortable to be able to spend a day and a night on their own. Everyone should be able to have a relationship with themselves where, like, you know what, I can do things solo. I don't need to rely on anybody to do this. And in relationships, people can become too dependent on the other. And I think that's when
issues arise.
Issues will arise, because you're not with someone because you need them to help you. We always want to bring the best out of each other, but we don't. We can also do things solo. And I, like, as an individual, I recharge when I'm on my own. Like, if Ellie works away a lot, I go to London with this, or she's away with that, and I'm like, love that. I'm like, are you away this week? You're away
every week.
That's amazing. I'm gonna get a day and night to myself. I love that. Yeah,
I can just imagine when you put this podcast on at home. Yeah. She's gonna be sat watching now. We'll skip over this. It's gonna be timestamps about Sam's thoughts on relationships. No, we don't need to watch that.
What's that there? No, we don't. Yeah. We don't need that.
But we're coming up to what time are we on? 17 minutes past 3. Coming up to a close now, mate. I've just got one more. I know it goes
quick, brother.
Goes so quick, bro. Goes so quick when you sat in the hot seat. But just sort of touching on like the Physique Academy culture, mate, just to finish before I do a bit of a quick fire. What does it actually mean to be a coach for Physique Academy?
What does it mean to be a Physique Academy coach? It means, personally, obviously, it means a lot to me. First of all, because I respect George, I respect who we're working for, and I'm all for the vision and the philosophy of the brand. Like, that's everything to me. Like, I need to know and feel like what I'm doing is having a positive impact and a positive change on the world, because that's, when we talk about, you feel that nice, sense of achievement, and you feel good for that. So if it's a big thing, it gives you the platform to be able to express the work that you want to do. And when you're doing that and you're aligned with a team and you're aligned with the philosophy and the brand, it means a lot. And then you also think about where the potential of where we can build it and where it can go. It's a great thing.
And for like guys that are starting out, that are some of the newer coaches, like what's like a big piece of advice do you think to like stand out? One piece of advice to stand out. Honestly, what I would say to any new coach coming on board is you've just got to have a willingness. I'd just say, like, for me, where I started isn't where I am now. You've grown. I've grown more in these last, let's say, 2 years. I know I've been on longer than that, but the last 2 years, I've grown more in the last 2 years than I've grown in the last 27 years of my life. Do you know what I mean? Like, truly, from just like a confidence perspective, not in an arrogant way, but just knowing who I am and knowing the value that I've got. Like, that's changed me as a person in a positive way. So what I'd say, but when I reflect on, okay, what did I do? I was just willing to do the work. I was willing to go above and beyond. I think George said it on a team meeting the other day, which I picked up, and he was like, if you're a coach and you're just clocking in and out, then how are you going to expect to stand out? How are you going to get the best results? And at the end of the day, if you're a coach for Physique Academy, that's not the coaches that we want on board just to clock in and out. We want the coach who are like, I want to be the best coach on the team. Oh, you want to help. You want to help the brand again. The mission, like me starting this podcast was like
exactly,
part of that.
That's it. Everyone. There's so much to it now. There's so much to it. It's not just coaching. We've got so much going on. But for any new coach, the opportunity is huge, isn't it? Like, the opportunity is big for new coaches. So, it's different now. Like, the new coaches come on board, they've got a head coach, they've got systems in place, they've got an onboarding process, and like I said, as long as they've got the willingness to put the work in, and then also just listen to head coaches, listen in the meetings, listen what we go over, because at the end of the day, if you think that the head coaches, we get judged off how the coaches perform, then we're only trying to do what's going to help results across the board with every coach. So what we're doing and what we're saying is just to improve performance. So if you've got the willingness to put the work in, you also care. Like, you've got to care about helping people. How can you do this job if you don't care about helping people? I remember, like, even sometimes when I speak with George, he's like, man, you care too much. Like, you need to dial that back sometimes, because he sees I can get emotional, really
emotional. Yeah,
it affects me. It affects me.
So again, that's why we're quite similar coaches, I think, because you're quite sensitive like me.
Well, it shows why you do great, brother, because you've got to care. Do you know what I mean? And I see what he says. I'm like, I get that. Like, I should, from an awareness perspective, I shouldn't let it affect me too much, but I kind of like that it affects me, because it shows me that I care. And if it makes me feel this way, then that's because I care, So I'd like to think that the coaches have that. They feel that need to
fire in the belly, that passion.
In the belly.
Yeah.
But just listening to everything that comes through as well, because we almost know what we need to do to get the best results. So simple as that.
Simple as that, bro. And for the future for yourself, mate, career wise, what's next for Sam Parker? Just keep helping the pool of coaches, clients, bro, and just as the brand keeps growing, bro, you're just going to keep helping more and more and more.
That's it, brother. Keep building up that portfolio portfolio of changed lives, brother. That's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about. Well, to finish, bro, quick fire Q&A now. You don't, it only needs to be
No pressure.
Yeah. No, bro, it's all pretty easy, bro. Pretty easy. It doesn't need to be like, otherwise we'll be here for another 20 minutes from. We've got an arm session to get
Oh, man.
Off now. I've got
I'm
a
itching
bicep
for
up
it.
to accrue, mate. CrossFit WOD or leg day for them juicy.
Oh, that ain't a quick fire question. We're going to have to break this down, brother.
No, you just CrossFit WOD or leg day, which one?
Forever, or just like, if I had to choose one just for... Forever? Oh, you're evil, man. I'd have to choose a CrossFit WOD and include some leg things in there.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, to be fair,
Yeah.
you could do that.
But you are asking me my two loves there.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Exactly why I asked it.
Leg day's my favourite.
This is like a viral trend on TikTok, bro, at the moment.
You may have to explain this to me. What is the trend?
The trend is like there's this debate. It's like 100 men versus one gorilla.
What are people saying that they can beat the gorilla?
The idea is the gorilla going to win 100 men? Like, say if you've got 100 men surrounding one silverback gorilla,
We're talking
beast,
big
silverback gorilla,
big jacked men. What kind of men are we talking?
There's no specific, just 100 men. It doesn't really matter. 100 men, one gorilla. Who's winning? Who's stronger?
The gorilla will tear them to pieces. That's where my money's going.
Yeah.
The gorilla.
Yeah.
You seen the state of him?
I know.
So that video Felix shared the other day, I was watching that. I was like, yeah, next time I'm feeling a bit alpha in the gym, I'm gonna start patting my chest around.
I have to agree, bro. I think people say like gorillas are only 5 times stronger than.
It's in a move.
I know.
The
bro.
quick, the powerful. No, I heard a video and I think it was what was it? Eddie Hall. It was Eddie Hall. And he was saying, "Oh, I think he said something like 2 of me in my prime. 2 of me in my prime at my biggest, strongest. I think I could take a gorilla." I was like, no. I really don't think so. Like, because him at his prime, big, strong guy, but he ain't moving like a gorilla, and he's just going to get thrown about. I don't care. He ain't throwing a gorilla about, even 2 of him. I think, I wouldn't want to mess with a gorilla.
It was like a quick diversion, bro. I just wanted to get your opinion on it, because like, I've seen a lot of like mixed reviews, and I actually saw H on TikTok, and he said, I've seen 5 man run from 1 man. I thought, yeah, the gorilla's definitely going to do it. Imagine being like the last 5 people, everyone else has been wiped out.
Yeah. What'd you do? Yeah, what'd you do then? Oh, actually, I don't think we're going to have him here. Let's see what we can get away from.
Oh my god, I'm sweating, bro. I'm clammy. Most underrated movement in training.
Most underrated movement in training. Well, I'll tell you one movement that I've been doing, that I've added in recently for the past maybe like few months, that I've never done and I love and has helped me with a lot of other areas of training, is pull-ups, weighted pull-ups. I mean, I don't see too many guys doing them, and I give them to a lot of my guys. But yeah, that's something that something I've started doing that I'm loving.
You know, I've sort of like when I see people doing like calisthenics, I think that is sick. You know, doing like you know, when they can do like a muscle up and then just like hold themselves on one arm, and do like what do you call them, like L sits and stuff. Yeah. I just find that so sick, bro. It takes next level strength. That I don't care.
Well, it's strange. It's like a different kind of strength. Yeah, it is.
Because you got like a strong man. Yeah. They'd never put them on a pull up bar, but might be able to get like 5-10 pull ups out, but then
pulling 500 kilograms from the floor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think I'd prefer to be good at calisthenics, to be honest. What's the most overrated supplement?
Most overrated supplement.
One that people like.
Something like
rave about that.
What? BCAAs maybe.
Yeah, it's like if you had the option of creatine or BCAAs,
it's got to be creatine.
It's got to be creatine.
Like, I mean, I'm not a big guy on supplements. And I don't really tell my clients you've got to take. I mean, whey protein and creatine are just standards. I feel like. Outside of that, you know, I'd advise around supplementation on specifics if it was needed, or is there an area that, and that doesn't have to be training related. It could be sleep related. It could be hydration related. It could be anything. But I mean, I think supplements are overrated as a rule anyway. Like everyone thinks, oh, I've got this protein. Oh, I've got this now. I'm going to get jacked. But if you've not got the right intensity with your training, the right structure, and the right also just nutrition, rest and recovery, then your supplements aren't really going to do anything for you. It's called a supplement for a reason. You're supplementing what should already be a solid foundation of what you're doing, and then they'll just aid you.
It's quite a young mindset that, like, when I was 16 and I first started like consistently taking creatine and whey protein, I thought, I'm gonna get jacked.
This is it now.
It's like I'm taking like Tremble every day, bro. That's what it felt like.
No, genuinely. I remember getting my first. I got a bag of, and it actually came in like a bag. I don't even know where my mum picked this up from.
The black market, bro.
It came in a bag, plastic bag. And what's this?
That was supplements.
Yeah, and I remember having it. I was like, and I wasn't even in the gym this time. This might have been before I even started the gym. I was like, must have been like 15. I was like just doing some weights in the bathroom lighting with my brother at the time. I was like, I got this protein. I was like, I remember we hit like a few sets on arms, no idea what we're doing with training. Going down, I'm drinking this. I'm like, I'm actually gonna get jacked. I'm getting jacked, thinking, oh, I'm on a protein shake, but it doesn't do anything. Do you know what I mean? It's
like that's the only protein you get any. Like just having like fries and stuff, bro, pasta for the rest of the day. One protein shake. Got enough protein in me.
We're good. We're
got
solid.
enough protein in me. Right, last question before we wrap things up. One message to your younger self starting at Physique Academy.
Good question. Honestly, what I'd say to my younger self starting Physique Academy or any area of my life would be just trust yourself and trust your intuition. I think one big thing that I've learned, especially since working for Physique Academy in the online space, is that I know what to do. You know, in a way, and there was a lot of time in the earlier stage where I would second guess myself, think, is that the right?
Syndrome, so.
Yeah, a little bit of that, and a little bit of just second guessing myself, just worrying about. I just always like trying to thinking, is that that perfectionistic kind of thing. But what I realized, because I remember thinking like, I'd reflect, I'd be like, okay, but I'm always someone who's gone off my own intuition. I've always been like, I've always felt this is the right thing to do, this is the right thing to say, and it's always, the only times in my life where I've gone against my intuition has been when things haven't worked out best, you know what I mean? So if I was to give myself advice, it would just be, do what you do and trust yourself with it, and be confident with what you do, because that's what I need. I just need, and that's how I live my life now anyway. I trust what I'm doing, and I know I do everything with the right intention, the best intention. So whether it works out how I want it to or not, inevitably it was always going to go that way, because I'm trusting what I'm doing.
Yeah, and nobody's perfect. Like in relationships and work, I think having that mindset of trying to be too much of a perfectionist it has its pros and cons.
Well, I think it's detrimental even for like clients. Like I tell them from day one, I'm not expecting perfection from you.
Yeah, like if you miss a day session and then they're like, I've missed that one day, but it's one day.
That's what
you've still been consistent the other 99% of the time.
Yeah, absolutely fine. Like, and I think that's a big thing for guys to realize. Like even new guys in the program, like, feeling bad. They've maybe had like a 3 weeks in the program and they've been solid, and then the third week they miss a session, like, getting really overwhelmed about it. I'm like, man, relax, you're doing great. Like, you've been in the gym consistently for the last 3 weeks and you've not done it for years. So don't worry about missing a session, just keep going. That's all we're about. And that will get you there in the end. That will get you where you want to be. And but that's all just how you perceive it. It's all just the mentality around it. If you're just don't matter. Get up, go again tomorrow.
And chill, bro. Just relax.
And relax.
And
relax. Yeah, you can't expect. It's also like expecting too much too soon. Like, I think we'll end up going on another tangent here, but it's like just being realistic with what they're going to achieve in certain time frames as well. Like, I'm like, man, you're doing amazing, and you why aren't you happy with where you're up to right now? It's only because potentially you got an unrealistic. But brother, we live in a world where social media just puts out so much crap. It's creating unrealistic expectations around everything. Everyone's, what it's like.
I think at this age now, like I was a bit different when I was 17, 18, like as a teenager. If I wasn't in the work line that I'm in, I don't think so. I'd be big into social media at all. Just think it has such like a negative impact on people's brains and perception and the way they think about things, especially with like fitness, and just like people don't know where to start. And then like they'll see like a transformation. It's like, even like to some degree, it can impact people on our program from what they see on our main page. Don't get me wrong, it's a great marketing tool. You can see what you can achieve, but then if like everyone's body's different, so like people might see, they'll see like a transformation maybe in 16, 20 weeks, and then maybe they might be at that point, and but because they've started at a different point, they're like, oh, like they might have had the expectancy subconsciously in the mind that that's where they were going to be after 4 or 5 months, and it's like, bro, you've still, you've gone from like 90, you've lost like 10 kilos, you know, you're still doing amazing, you know, you've still got further to go, and you're on your own journey. So it's the comparison is the thief of joy, brother.
Well, that's it. That's why, you know, mentally managing their journey for them is what coaching is, because it's natural for us to compare to other people. Like even, you know, like I said, there was a lot of things that came into my struggles with, you know, body dysmorphia and, you know, going through, you know, gaining all that weight. And a lot of that came from social media as well, like the expectations that we put on ourselves. Like you see but social media is fake. Do you know what I mean? Like even stuff I post, I'm like, you know, you're jacked up, you're pumped up, you're in good lighting, you're looking great, but that's not how you look 90% of the time. Do you know what I mean? When you're chilling, you're just walking out in the garden to get some sun, you know, you're not flexing and pumped up and you're in the best light. So I get that, but then again, it's, you know, that's what stands out. So there's like a little bit of a strange, you know, connection between those two things of wanting to, you know, not, well, you know what I mean, like not, you know, I'm always honest with clients anyway, you know, just be honest with them. And I always say, look, you're seeing me, but you're seeing the best of me, you know, I'm only putting the best of me out there on social media, but you know me as a person because I speak to them on a personal level. You know really what's going on. You know, I'm just like you, we're both human. I'm not perfect, you're not perfect, but if we get up every day and we're looking to be better than yesterday, then as cliche as it sounds, what more can you do?
Love it, bro. I love it. Well, thank you, mate. It's been a great chat. I've enjoyed this podcast, brother.
Pleasure, brother.
Yeah, thank you for coming down.
Pleasure.
The next guest that I've got on is at the end of this month. He's actually someone outside of Physique Academy, Ben Holden. Benji, so he's going to be the next one down. If you've got any questions that you want me to ask him or any topics to bring up, then put it in the comment section below. But we'll see you in the next one. See you later.
See you later. Enjoy. Let's go pump them arms up, baby.